Every project is a bet. The people involved in the project may go to great lengths to conceal it, but that's what it is. Understanding that every project is a bet can make managing it much easier. In her book Thinking in Bets, the professional poker player Annie Duke writes that treating decisions as bets helps her avoid common decision traps, learn from results in a more rational way, and keep emotions out of the process. In this talk, I want to show that accepting that projects are bets enables us to make better decisions and suffer from fewer emotions, especially the negative ones about how those decisions turn out. Everything is a bet, and in software development, we're playing at least 6 different games. The decision to fund a project was a bet. This might not be something that many people associated with the project want to admit, but it's true. What is a bet? It's a decision to take a substantial amount of risk with the understanding that there is the potential for an even more substantial reward. But at the same time, there is also a chance of failure. That's what a project is. So one way of looking at a project is as a game of chance, which I think in itself is useful as a way of explaining what would otherwise be bewildering behaviour, but also as a comfort for those times when projects come up the equivalent of snake eyes. Game number 1. Fuck it. Spin the wheel, roll the dice. The political scientist and economist Herb Simon coined the term bounded rationality. Perhaps we would like to be rational. Perhaps the people who decide to fund a project would like to be rational. Perhaps they would like to give full consideration to all relevant information before they make a decision. Unfortunately, the world is big. All relevant information is a lot of information. That's if anyone can agree on some test of what's relevant. So at some point, whoever is making the decision to fund or not fund a project has to draw a bound around the things that are relevant and are not relevant. No matter how careful and considerate they want to be, sooner or later they need to shrug their shoulders and say, fuck it. And once someone has said fuck it, not only is the project started, but because no matter how careful the decision has been, there is going to be an aspect of risk and recklessness to it. And 3 other games start to be played. Game number 2, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose, or Macavity. This game is discussed by Venkatesh Rao in his book The Gervais Principle, and the acronym stands for Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. Rao's point is that one of the things that will make it more likely that someone at some point says fuck it is that they think they will be able to take credit for the bet of the project if it's a success, and will be nowhere to be seen if the project is a failure. To quote T.S. Eliot discussing the Napoleon of crime, Macavity, "You may see him in the basement, you may look up in the air, but I tell you once and once again, Macavity is not there." This may seem like reprehensible behaviour until we realise that if it weren't for people who are willing to say fuck it on the basis that they can be around to take the credit when the project goes well and do a Macavity when they don't, there probably wouldn't be as many projects. Also, this seems less condemnable when we realise that the people who kick the project off aren't the only people who are playing a game. Game number 3, The Hiding Hand. The journalist Michael Gladwell talks about the work of Albert Hirschman, who among many other jobs in a long career was involved in the management and monitoring of projects funded by the World Bank in South America. Hirschman noted that no matter how wrong-headed and likely to fail the projects were, there was support, enthusiasm and encouragement from the people involved. He called this phenomenon the hiding hand, in reference to the established economic concept, the guiding hand, which supposedly allows markets to find a price. What he's really pointing at is something pretty obvious. The people who are working on a project will cover up the project's problems and downplay its risks, certainly until the project is up and running, because they want the work. Game number 4, Project Management Theatre. People who kick off projects want lots of projects to be happening. This gives them the best chance of having some projects pay off. The people who work on the projects want the work. It's in the interest of neither group to make it brutally clear what a risky, expensive and reckless endeavour they're involved in. So another game gets played, a game that pretends that any particular project management methodology, if executed carefully and precisely, will guarantee success. If the methodology is perfectly executed, if it is surrounded by coaches, if everyone is trained to a specific level of qualification, the project will be a success. Not all of this circus is useless. It may well give a project a better chance of success, but is that what it's really for? Or is it really to cover up a bare fact that the project is a bet? Game number 5, upping the stakes. Do you want this or not? To win a hand in poker, the player doesn't just make one decision. They have to make many decisions. They don't just make one bet that their hand will be the winner. They have to decide multiple times if they want to up the stake. In most cases in poker, it's clear when the player needs to up the stakes, and each decision to up the stakes is a more informed decision. The player has typically seen more of his hand. But also in poker, it's clear that refusing to up the stakes will be the end of the game. Unfortunately, because of the games that we've already talked about, none of these things are very clear in many software development projects. Heads I win, tails you lose may well mean that whoever kicked the project off is far away from it when it's in trouble. The hiding hand and project management theatre conspire to cover up that this project is any kind of bet at all. This makes it much harder for the start choice, increase the bet or give up, to be made clear. The irony is that these bets which up the stakes are actually much better bets. They're already informed by how the project has gone up to that point. Their odds are shorter. They have a much better chance of success. But if we are project managers, this is a game that we have to play. We need to use the true value of project management methods, transparency, inspection, adaptation, to highlight potential risks and rewards and make clear the points where the stakes need to be upped and when this would be a good bet. Game number 6, shortening the odds. If the project that you're working on is a big dumb bet, a real roll of the dice, what can you do to give the bet the best chance of success? You can make smaller, lower stakes bets. Delivering working software early and often is a lower stakes bet. If it pays off, it drastically shortens the odds of the project being a failure, or the project turning out to be technically unfeasible, or delivering something that nobody wants. User research before the bet was made, and then all the way through the project, in combination with regular releases of working software, again works to shorten the odds, reduces the chances of delivering something that no one wants, and also provides the best, earliest information on when, if and how the stakes need to be upped. Conclusion. All projects are bets. This isn't a comfortable truth for a lot of people, so we end up playing several games to pretend that they aren't. But if we don't admit, at least to ourselves, that projects are bets, we will miss the chance to play the games that we need to play to give our projects the best chance of success.